but if you do it, there's a chance, right? So I don't know. I think more than making it feel like, oh, you got close and you didn't get it, was more like, no, no, I took a shot and we got further than we thought we were going to get. That's kind of how I look at it, and I think about that quite a bit.
Welcome to the Funny in Failure podcast, a podcast that celebrates failure and shines the light on the emotional side of comedy and life with yours truly, Michael Kahan. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Today's chat is amazing. This was such a fun and collaborative chat. Scott is a great conversationalist, easygoing and chill. I love this one, and I reckon you will too. Good news and bad news. Due to a weird technical glitch, the video is low quality and out of sequence at times, but the audio is great, so it still makes for a beautiful chat. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. Recognized by Variety as one of its 10 actors to watch, actor and producer Scott Michael Foster has established himself as a versatile leading man known for bringing humor, heart, and complexity to memorable roles across television and film. Beloved by audiences for his fan-favorite roles in Greek and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Scott first gained widespread recognition for his fan-favorite role as Cappie on the hit series Greek. He's also well known for his role as Nathaniel Plimpton on the CW's critically acclaimed Emmy Award-winning musical comedy series Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Scott currently stars opposite Lacey Chabert in Hallmark Plus's highly anticipated limited series Paris is Always a Good Idea. And it's out now, so check it out. So as you can imagine, we dive deep and we cover a lot, and we chat about sobriety and the profound impact it's had, being a certified scuba diving instructor, Greek, and dealing with it at a young age, being homeschooled, fear, singing, a love of musical theatre and performing arts, his producing work, selling his first script, being okay with not being busy at times, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and performing with it, Paris is Always a Good Idea, plus plenty more. Before we get into this epic chat, I'd love it if you would share the podcast around, like, comment, subscribe, write a nice review. It really helps the podcast grow and helps ensure I can lock in amazing guests like this one. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Let's get into it. Actually, we're talking about Bali, so this could be a good place to start. I think it was on IMDb that you're a certified scuba diver. Is that...
Great.
Oh, okay. Tell me, how did you get into that? I need to know all.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't really have any sort of like interest in that, but I was on a show called Greek years ago, and our script supervisor, the person who sort of makes sure that we're doing the script right, she was a scuba diving instructor, and so she was like, "I can teach you. I'd love to take you out," and so she taught me at the Pepperdine pool here in Malibu, and then subsequently did my test at Catalina, right there off the island off the coast. And we went all the time. Like she would go and we would do these, get on a boat at night, and then you'd sail out and you would scuba dive all day the next day. And we did that for like probably 3-4 years. And then the last trip we did was her wedding on Catalina. And I remember that was like my last trip.
No
I
way.
haven't gone since. And that was like 17 years ago. It's so weird to think that it's been a long time, but I was actually just talking to some people about how I'd like to get back into it and get myself recertified.
Oh, how often do you have to get recertified?
You just need like a refresher course. I think the PADI 60-foot certification is for 5 years or something like that. So I'd have to like go back and do it again or something like that. So maybe 10 years. I'm not sure. I'm definitely expired.
That's crazy that you would do like day trips scuba diving. Is that not like hectic with the oxygen and just like fitness and...
Well, what you need to do is you get on the boat, they sail out, while you sleep, and then you get up at like 7 a.m., you do a dive, you come back, you have a snack,
Yep.
you're only down for like an hour because of the tanks, right? Then you get geared up again, and then you do another dive, you come back, you do lunch, then you do another dive, and then you sail back. So it's really like a 3-dive day, but you're on the boat all day, and it's, each one is intense, so it's you got to be able to swim and deal with the pressure and everything. But I loved it. I thought it was really really like a unique experience.
This chat is only going to be about this, and we're not talking about anything else.
Yeah, fine. Bali's good. Bali and scuba diving.
That's so she just offered it to you, and then you built a friendship, and then you just started doing it, and then that probably changes a bit of your life as well, given that you're doing something so unique.
And then my right, yeah, and then my co-star jumped in. He started doing it, and then one of our
What?
producers who was already certified, he started doing it. My dad used to be a diver, so he like we all went on these dive trips together, and it was really really fun. It was back in the day. I don't drink anymore, but when I did, we would get on the boat at like 11 o'clock at night, and we would all like drink and tell stories on the boat, and then we'd go to sleep and wake up, and then you're in the middle of the ocean or at an island somewhere off the coast. It was just a magical time. I really want to do it again.
That is amazing, and I'm glad that you got to do that, and I hope you still continue. We'll talk about all the other places you traveled also through your new show coming up. But when I saw that, like I've just heard a few people because I went to Bali as
Yes.
well, and people I just heard like people were walking by as well, and they were saying this is like the most life changing thing just to be kind of with nature and just to see how deep you could go and see different animals, and it was just like
Yeah.
a piece of calm and clarity. Was that also a way to potentially switch off? Was this during Greek as well when you first started, or was it after?
No, it was during Greek. It was a way for us to go out, and I mean we were young, and we were looking to experience life in all the ways we could, and in Bali we went snorkeling, and I love snorkeling, but it's interesting once you've scuba dived and then you
Yeah,
go to snorkeling and you're like, oh, I want to go down a little further and I can't, like so it is that there's an extra umph to it that I think
yep.
is it's hard to describe until you've done it, It's one of those things where like when you first get in the water with all your gear on, it's really like, oh my God, like I this is intense and I've got all this gear on and I'm at the surface. I feel like I'm bait for sharks or whatever, but like once you get down in the water and you're amongst all the fish and the sea life and everything, it's just the most serene, calm. You don't feel like you're in any danger or anything like that. Like it's just the best.
My last point on that, and then we'll move on. But I could talk about this all day.
Yeah, yeah.
When I did scuba diving for maybe 30 seconds. It was at the Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Ah,
Got my whole gear on, put it all on, about to go, and I think my legs were a bit dangling in the water. Then they said it's too dangerous. There's like it's raining and winds or whatever. We actually can't in the water. And I'm like, no, we like flew out all the way there.
oh,
So
too
I've just
choppy.
lived through.
Yeah. Oh man. Did you get certified?
No, that was just not a cruise, but like you go away on a ferry for like a day and scuba dive. No, I never did. But
Yeah. And they give you like all right, you're blessed, you're certified now for the day, and then you can get in.
I think it was like a pre-test, and then you didn't need to be certified. You just had someone like look over you,
Yeah,
and you weren't allowed to go
got
too
it.
deep. But yeah, but anyway, thank you for living the life that I always wanted as well.
Well, you'll have to do it. You'll have to do it at some point. You'll have to get back out there.
I will. And also talking about other random skills as well.
Yeah.
I saw that you also learned to ride a motorcycle. Can you still do that? And tap dancing.
Yeah, I
Can you
mean,
still do tap dancing as well?
yeah, to a degree. Like if you put me in a tap dancing competition, I would come in last place for sure. But I can do a time step, I can do a wing, I can do the Shirley Temple, I can do all that stuff, but I wouldn't be very good if I had to like, compete against even children. I probably wouldn't I wouldn't do very well. Motorcycle, I learned that not only because I wanted to know how to do it, but also because I was like, man, what if a roll comes around and they're going to be like, and then he gets on the motorcycle and he takes off. I just like, I didn't want to be like, you guys have to teach me how to do it. I just wanted to like have the skill.
Okay.
And then I also like got to have a pretty awesome motorcycle for a few years, which was really, really, really fun. I crashed it, but learning experience, I'm okay.
Okay.
And I still know how to ride. So yeah, it's that's another one I love, and I'll probably get a bike again at some point, but not right now.
You should go scuba diving with the motorbike somewhere like a
Oh, have you seen those things that are like little propellers that you hold on to and they like take you underwater and stuff?
that's what I didn't have the word for it, so I was like thinking like some form of like tiny little submarine. I'm like that could be you.
Yeah, I would love to have an underwater motorbike. That would be pretty sick. I'm down.
From the tap dancing, going to your upbringing as well, was this you did tap dancing? I think there was jazz. I
Hmm.
think you liked musical theater as well. How did you? I think because I believe you were homeschooled. So how did you
Hmm.
find out about all of this stuff?
Yeah, so I was homeschooled until I was 12. And when we moved to Texas, my mom was like, I'm opening a business. I can't homeschool you anymore. You're going to public school. Good
Ah,
luck. And so I did that. And I wanted to be a basketball player because I was tall for my age,
yep.
but I could not play basketball to save my life. I couldn't dribble. I couldn't shoot, which are, I think,
It
important
would
things
help.
to know if you're going to be a basketball player. So some would say the fundamentals. And I didn't have those. So I remember I didn't make the team. And so I was like, well, I got to do something with this elective period. And I joined musical theater and I fell in love with it. I loved it. I was in every show they had. And through that, I did choir and drama. And I just got really into the performing arts. And that's ultimately why I moved to LA, is because I wanted to keep that dream alive.
That's amazing. I was also thinking that you thought you were tall for your age and you're being homeschooled and you're comparing yourself to nobody as well. And you're like, I could do this. I'm the best in my classes.
It's like I've got two siblings and I'm the third tallest in the whole school.
Yeah.
Bad joke. Anyway,
What was that transition like as well? I'm sure you've spoken about this a lot, so we'll breeze past this. What was the transition in terms of, my wife works with a lot of kids as well, and going into different environments. She works some of the kids. She works on that and the social stuff. Was that a bit of a
mhm.
because going into year seven, you were 12. That can be quite a challenging time anyway. So was that quite overwhelming
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
remember?
I've talked about that a lot and how, a lot of people have, I've met some people who don't have this experience, but a lot of people have the same experience where seventh grade, 12 years old is like the roughest time in public school.
Yep.
It's like, you know, people are mean, there's
Yep.
bullying and, you don't know who you are. You're growing in a weird way. Like it's a tough time in general.
Yep.
And that transition for me was very hard. I would come home and I would be miserable at the end of the day. I would just be crying to my mom about how like everyone was mean and like, and she'd be like, "I'll take you out of school. I will take you out of school and I'll homeschool you again if that's what you want." And I was like, "No, no, I'm gonna master this." So for me, it was something that was like a tough, painful transition, but it was one that I wanted to go through. I wanted to make public school work. And at that point, I had found musical theater. I'd found my group, and like I liked it. So yeah, I wanted public school to work and I wanted to have that experience. And so even though the transition was tough, eighth grade was better and then high school was great. So I look back and I say, that seventh grade, 12-year-old me was suffering, but if he only knew what was ahead, he'd be okay.
I love that. That's why we do the podcast. It's, sometimes you face that fear door as well. You
Yeah.
know it's going to be tough in the short term.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
you knock down that door, a little bit of suffering, or it can be quite a lot of hardships. And then long term, that carries with you for the rest of your life. That is remarkable at that age that you had foresight like that to realize that
Right,
this would
right.
actually.
Well, I don't think yeah, it's hard to know that in the moment, but I knew I wanted to keep going. You know what I mean? I didn't know if it was going to get better, but I knew I wanted to try. I wanted to make it work because I wanted to have that experience. I was homeschooled for, 6 years at that point, and I was alone with my sisters and my mom for most of the time, and I was like starved for peers and that experience of being with other kids and like, doing new things. I really wanted that, and so even though it was tough, I knew I wanted it. I didn't know if it was going to be get easier at all, but I knew I wanted it.
That I admire that. That's awesome. And then once you find musical theater and all of that, does your life kind of change? Does it open everything up for you? Obviously, you make friends and stuff. But was that like, this is what I want to do? Did you know it kind of in the moment?
Yeah, I think right after seventh grade when I really hit the stride of musical theater and in school, and then I was doing local theater, and I was like, man, I think this is what I want to do, and I didn't really have time to think about it because, our in high school our program was so competitive. We did like 6 shows a year, three musicals and three plays, and we would compete, and on top of that we were doing choir and competing in choir, and so like I didn't have time to like stop and think until I graduated, and I was like, oh my God, okay, am I gonna go to school or what am I gonna do? And so I went to college. I went to a performing arts college near us in Texas for like one semester, and I was like, I think I need to go be in the real world. I need to go be in the real world. So I moved to LA when I was 18, and the rest is history. But I knew pretty much Like in eighth grade, I was like, I think this is what I'm gonna do until I can't.
Wow, that you don't. A lot of kids say like, "I want to be an astronaut," or "I want to do this," and it doesn't stick. That's awesome that you found that.
Yeah.
How did you also have that kind of maybe knowing when you're doing that one semester that
Yeah.
this wasn't for you, and you're just going to kind of, because a lot of people are like, I need to study, and there's no judgment whatsoever. I
Yeah.
need to study for years. I'm not ready. How did you kind of know that you were ready? How did you
Hmm.
know that wasn't for you and that you were ready to dive into LA?
So it felt like 13th grade. I had just graduated high school, which was 12 grades, and I didn't feel like I had graduated really and gone to something of higher education. Even though I was at a fairly prestigious theater program at a community college in Texas, it was just didn't feel like I had really taken a bigger step.
Oh,
And so I was, my uncle lived in LA and I had visited him like the year prior. And so I was like, can I come stay with you for a while I try this LA thing? And he was like, yeah. So he put me up for a year, and I moved out there and hit the ground running. And I'm glad I did because, I feel like I probably could have learned quite a bit if I had stayed in school, right? I probably could have learned a lot, but I was ready, I think personally, to go and like start working. I felt like I was ready for that, and I had to just listen to myself.
oh, I love that because there can be so many different things within us that say, no, I'm not ready. I'll do it time later. We can
Mm,
procrastinate. I need to do this.
yeah,
Some people saying, I need to study. And to actually listen to yourself is surprisingly rare in this day and
mm,
age. Like our intuition can often say one thing and then we can be swayed by parents or teachers or whatever. Was it
yeah.
just so loud that you knew you needed to do it? Or was that just something ingrained to you at the time?
You know, yeah, I had no doubts. I had no doubts. I wanted to do it. In fact, there was a moment when I got to LA, I sat down, unpacked my bags at my uncle's house, and I was like, now what? What do I do now? It was just so overwhelmingly loud that I listened to it, and it was like, well, now I got to like follow through and plan and put myself out there and figure out how I'm going to make this happen. And it's weird. I look back at myself, my younger self, and I say that guy knew what he wanted, was going after it. And I now am like I admire that about my younger self, and I don't feel like I have it as much as I did, when I was young and like, super hungry and like had a clear vision of what I wanted, was going to do anything to get it. And now I think we all fall into that trap of like, we second guess and we say, oh, well, maybe not, and I don't know if this is really the right thing for me. And so I admire my younger self in that way.
That's great that you can look back and see that and recognize that as well. Is that also part of the reason why you've been doing producing to find projects that maybe ignite something in you?
Yeah, I think a lot of that too is just trying to stay busy. The industry is not what it was when I first moved here. It was, I mean, it was, you could, I was very fortunate to be as successful as I was, as young as I was. And when that sort of, with the pandemic and the strikes kind of slowed down a little bit, I wasn't used to that. And so, it's really just about staying busy, staying creative, and, trying to do the things that I really do want to do, which is write, produce, and get things made that I want to see made.
That's amazing. And all of that stuff. And that's like people don't understand how disruptive it's been to the industry as well.
Yeah.
I also do screenwriting as well. And
Mm,
I'm not an actor by any means, but as an actor, that's terrifying when, you don't have that much control in the business at all. Writing and producing is one way to actually, change that for you as well.
right.
Has it ignited,
Mhm.
something within you as well? Talking back to you knew what you want and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Has it ignited like this different creative flair?
Yeah. I think it's definitely inspiring when you write something and then you either have someone you respect read it and like it, or you do a
Yep.
table read and you hear it out loud and you go, oh my God, it does work, or something. Or, like they're all little wins, along the way. And also just even if you don't show it to anybody, even if I don't show it to anybody, I just write for myself sometimes, and I'm like, oh, this may never go anywhere. I just want to get this idea out, and that ends up coming back to you later in another form, And I think it's just about keeping the creative juices flowing, as they say, and
Yep.
because it's really easy to be stagnant, right? Like it's really easy for me to just go, play chess on my phone or watch a TV show or something, like just zone out and not do anything. But like to kind of keep that muscle engaged is it's I think it's important for us creatives.
Agreed. And also, I like that you talk about the small wins as well. This was many years ago. One of the ladies here in Australia, she's kind of like the lead for
Mm.
comedies or like to get you into Netflix. Like she's like the person that you talk to.
Yeah.
And I remember she read a script. She said, "Oh, this is the first thing I've ever written." So it's very nice that she took a meeting.
Mhm.
It wasn't very good now that I look back at it. And she's like, this is good,
Well, but
but
that's all part of the process.
exactly. And she was like, this is good. We probably can't do anything with it now, but I like certain aspects. And I was just so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I've actually got some positive feedback. And
Mhm.
then I went to some of my non-creative friends and they meant this with love. Like, oh, we're so sorry you didn't get the TV show. And I'm like, one, I already knew I wasn't ready to have my own TV show and be a showrunner then. But I was like, you know what? I just got like such great feedback from this. This is
Of
amazing. And
course.
something as well in their mind, it could be as small as that.
Yeah.
It's like it carries you forward. It's like so
Of
important. It
course.
ignites things in you. You think of different things. And especially because you've done a few projects as
Mm.
well from the producing side as well and
Mm.
the writing side, that it's just like it's a feeling that just it changes your inner world as well,
Yeah.
but also carries on into your personal lives and your relationships as well. It's just
Yeah.
like I feel like it's gonna like the wankiest thing. I feel like more healed when
Sure.
I'm just like more in alignment with some of my creative projects, whether anyone sees them or not, like you said.
But then if you write something and you share it with a friend or a loved one, someone you can trust to just give their opinion and they like it, that's one thing. But then you share it with someone who can actually do something with it and they like it. And
Mm,
whether it goes forward or not, that's still a huge win, right? Like that's still just a good feeling to feel like, oh, I did something creative that I liked and someone else saw the value in it too. Whether or not it gets made, there's value, you know? And I think just as a writer, you take that, you go forward, and you use that in all your future projects too.
you have a very wise mentality. I want to know about this because this shocks me because this is also my worst fear is getting a show like purchased
Mm.
and then it doesn't go ahead. I'd rather it not, but I know that's also ridiculous because of all the other things we said, and you meet people, and maybe the project changes in some other form later on. I think that I think it was after Greek, you were 25 at the time, and your girlfriend at the time, I'm not sure if it's your current partner, doesn't matter. You pitched a web series and
No,
sold it
it's
to
not.
Comedy Central. Oh, it's not okay. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no, it's
And
okay.
you pitched it to Comedy Central, and they bought it, which is amazing, especially
Yes,
after all of that. And
huge.
then your quote is, "We never shot the pilot, but it taught me that anything's possible." And I
Yeah.
love that because most writers are like, "No, it didn't get made," but you were like, "It showed me anything is possible." Can you speak to that if you remember this?
Yeah, I mean, that to me is something that I look back at a lot, you know, the fact that I was 25, we were young, we were just we just made this little, this was before Instagram and TikTok and even Vine. It was like we had our own little web series that we made that we were just shooting in my driveway, you know, like it was just a little passion project that we were like, oh, I think we could adapt this and make this into something. And the fact that we took it from this like silly little web series to being like something we really cared about to adapting it to a pilot that we pitched to 7 different networks and we sold it on the seventh one.
Whoa.
It was just crazy to me, like 25 years old doing that. That was like, that made me feel like, oh, okay, well, yeah, if even if this doesn't go, like this was a win. This was an experience that I'll always remember. And yeah, it like I said before, it makes you really think that if you just if you never know until you do it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's what is it? Gretzky said, it's 100, you miss 1,000% of the shots you don't take, or something like that. It's like
Yeah.
if you don't do it and you just speculate about it, you'll never know. But if you do it, there's a chance, right? So I don't know. I think more than making it feel like, oh, you got close and you didn't get it, was more like, no, I took a shot and we got further than we thought we were gonna get. You know, that's kind of how I look at it, and I think about that quite a bit in my writing. Now I haven't actually, like, other than short films and stuff that I've produced, I haven't sold anything else, but I've also been working as an actor too. So it's like, it's ebb and flow.
Yeah, no, well, I think that's such a unique. That's so rare to have that mentality because, as you probably know, a lot of people can just focus on the I either got it or I didn't get it. And
Yeah.
as an actor, you know better than anyone. You've been rejected 1,000 times, and that's not a criticism of you. That's every single person in
Yeah.
business, no matter how talented you are. And you can either like see like I didn't get the role, but I'm sure sometimes you've had opportunities where they're like, we really like you, you're just not right for the role, or maybe you've gotten close, or maybe you even got the role and then it changed and like, we're sorry, we had to go with a network. All of these things, how have you been able to deal and process that?
It's been a roller coaster, man. I mean, I was really fortunate enough for the first, 10, 12 years of my career to just kind of work nonstop. I was always busy, which was really good, and I'm thankful for that. And I've really had to like learn how to sort of be less busy in the last few years. Just the market, the industry contracting, and there's a million factors for why you just might not be busy, and I think that was one thing I had to learn how to cope with because it was something I wasn't used to. But also like being on the other side of it when are producing your own projects, like I see how it's not always the actor's fault, or it's not always like, oh, you're just a bad actor. It's like, no, it's there's so many variables that are involved, whether it's, well, you're way too tall, which I've gotten before, or like you've got dark hair and they have dark hair, we want blonde, and it's like sometimes it's just completely out of your control, and that's just the nature of the business. So I don't take that personally, and I think a big part of feeling comfortable with this is like knowing that, believing that you're good, believing that you are talented, like knowing that, and that it's 9 times out of 10, it's for some silly reason you can't control.
I'm glad that you know that as well. Like I think an actress that her eyes were too blue because the other
Yep.
cast members we've had, the too short, too tall, or someone else's like looks too similar. Oh, and now are you just like, okay, just wasn't meant for me. Obviously, it sucks, and you can like, how do you
Yeah.
cope with that? Have you had to do any practices like go for a walk, binge a shitload of ice cream, go scuba diving many years ago? Is there anything that has helped you?
Yeah, luckily, my partner and I are both in the industry, and so we cope with each other. um, we've been through it all. We've had all the rejection, so we know what it's like. And listen, it's tough. Like no one's gonna say it's easy or fun to get a thousand no's, like you say, right?
Yeah.
But it's the ones that you get afterwards that make it all worthwhile, right? You really cherish the job more, and you cherish your place in it more. That's something I think that comes with age a little bit. I remember when I was on Greek in my 20s that we would have guest stars who had, been doing it a lot longer than we had come on and say like, "Hey, this is something special," and we'd be like, "Yeah, whatever, we're on the show." And they're like, "No, no, no, this is something special. You guys should really know that this is special." And I kind of understand that now as I'm getting older. I'm like, wow, we really had something good. And I don't think we took advantage of it or anything like that, but it is interesting to see the older you get. You're like, oh, I understand what that means now. It's like when you get a job, it is like it's a huge win. It's a huge win for a lot of people, and so just cherish it while you have it.
And that's any job as well. And with Greek, I remember watching it as well. And it's there's no criticism on you or anyone whatsoever. How can you possibly know when
Yeah,
you basically got that job so quickly once I think you're a waiter, then 3 months later you quit.
yeah,
We'll pigeonhole that. And then you get Greek, which is a crazy story. How
yeah.
can anyone know fully what that is? Because also just naturally like, oh, this is something I got, I'll get on to the next one, I'll do something else like this. It's like impossible. So I like that you can like reflect back in the moment. Could you enjoy it as well, or is it just like yeah? Tell me, how did you go about it?
It's funny. Yeah, I loved the job. I was thankful every day to be on that gig because, like, we were at a studio here in LA, and I had like a parking spot with my name on it. I had a gate key to get into the studio a lot, and I was a regular on a series for 4 years, which is just more than most people can say. And so I really did love it. But at the same time, I did have that feeling of like, oh, I'll go to something else. As soon as this is done, I'll get on the next thing. And I was like kind of always thinking about next, 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 next. Because even when the show ended, it was very emotional for a lot of the people, and I get it. but I didn't cry. Like I was kind of one of the only people that didn't cry because I was like, well, this is the end of this now, but like we'll all be friends and like we're all gonna still know each other going on and I'll bounce on to another project, But it's funny. I think now it would be different, I think I would be more emotional about it.
Naturally, of course. And something like that, it
Yeah.
is a massive show. I know I heard you somewhere say like at times like you're checking the ratings and stuff. But when there's not that much competition as well, there are not many shows that will get those numbers now as well, which is funny because maybe in the moment you're like, oh, we need our numbers to be a little bit higher. Now people die to have a show like that as well. What a crazy
I
time.
know.
Was it something that you're actually aware of? Did they like tell you like, guys, we bring,
What, like the ratings and all that?
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the first season we had shot like 10 episodes by the time we aired, I think. Or maybe not all 10, but we shot quite a few episodes by the time we aired it. And we got like a point 0.9 or something like that, or a 1.1 or something. And they were just like, listen, guys, we're so sorry. We let you down with the marketing and the advertising. We're going to step up our game. And we were just like, oh boy, I hope we make it, And then we ended up going for 4 years, So, boy, I hope we make it, And then we ended up going for 4 years, So,
So rare.
it's so rare. Those numbers were now would be great, But
Yeah.
in the moment it felt like, oh, we're hanging on by a thread every season. But again, hindsight, we got to do 4 years, 76 episodes of a great show that we love, which would I think anybody would be thrilled for now.
And yeah, you also a lot of shows are like 10 episodes a season or
Right.
whatever it is as well. And now
Right.
76,
Right.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
And in terms of the fame and recognition, could you live your life like outside of work? Would that have been quite overwhelming as a young person as well and dealing with all of that?
No, I did, not that was sort of the blessing of not being as well known as other shows as, nobody I didn't get bothered. No one no one was stopping me at the grocery store.
And then when I think it's like come back. Has it come back on
Has
like
it?
Disney or Netflix as well? Has that like reignited? I think my wife's watching it
Oh, really?
actually before I knew I was going to talk to you. She's like, "Oh my god, that's great!" But
Oh, funny.
she's very very excited. But I think it's got a lot more. Well, she's watching and she's talking with her friends, so I assume that it's got a bit of a
Yeah. Okay.
who knows.
I think I don't know if it was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it's out here anywhere, but sometimes it comes on and people will be like, "Oh, we just saw you on TV." And yeah.
Fair. And as we said, with we'll pigeonhole the expectations.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of pressure to perform on a show like that, given that a lot of cast members?
Yeah.
Spoke about ratings. Was there pressure, or could you just do your thing? And
I mean, I think we all wanted it to be good, right? We all wanted it to be a good show, but we were very young, and a lot of us, this was our first gig, and so I think there was a little bit of like trial by fire in as far as you know what people expected of us, but we all wanted to make a great show, so I don't think there was like obviously they expected us to show up to work and do our best, but I think for the most part, I think we were able to just kind of bring what we were going to bring to it and have fun. That really was what it was all about.
and I also read a little while ago that they were considering, or maybe it got picked up at one stage, doing a movie. Was that a reality?
So there was sort of talk, probably, gosh, 8 years ago now. I can't, I don't know exactly when, but um, about doing a like a reunion movie, but that kind of fell apart. And I didn't get many details about it, but I know that they were talking. Freeform was talking about doing it, but we never got any sort of official letter or anything like that.
And so, how do you deal with something like that? Because, as we said, not every year as glamorous as the other, and there's a non-linear aspect, and we'll talk about how some years are bigger than others as well.
Mm.
When you see something like that, are you like super invested, or until you've signed it and you're there? What's the mentality? Does it bother you that it doesn't go ahead? Or how do you expectations wise?
Nah, it's. I think when this came up, it was like not really far enough away from the ending of Greek. Like it had been maybe 7 years, and so I think we were all kind of like, if it happens, great. But like, I don't think we were all like in the mindset that this needed to happen. Like we need to do a 10-year, 20-year anniversary or something like that. Like this is 20 years since we shot the pilot this year. Next
Wow.
year will be 20 years from the premiere of the show, which is wild. If something like
Yeah.
that happened in the next year or so, I'd be like, "Oh, cool, this feels appropriate. It's been 20 years, you know." But at that point, it hadn't been that long, and so, I just you know, I, it was I don't think anybody was like holding their breath for it. If it happened, it would have been great. We would have loved to do it, but I don't think anybody was really just surprised it didn't go forward.
Fair. And is there any chance of something like that happening again, or?
I mean, yeah, I guess I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know. Gosh, I don't even know where Freeform is with with
Yeah,
with
of course.
the rights to this. I don't know anything about it. I am but a humble actor who is paid for his services.
And a producer and writer, you could take it, and you can that can be your next big show.
Maybe if they'd let me do an adaptation of Greek, they'd let me do that.
I had a couple of guys on from Seinfeld, and they were probably two of the more well-known
Hmm.
guests or reoccurring, and they spoke about the expectations of when you're on a big show,
Hmm.
and then you go to other shows. There's always kind of that lingering. Is it going to be like Seinfeld? Is it going to be like Greek, for example? And
Right,
then
right.
each of them had to navigate it in their own way of being like, we can't really compare. Not everything's going to be like that. Sometimes your biggest and best show, not saying this with you,
Yeah.
is behind us, but you can still go and enjoy other shows in different ways. How did you deal with that? Because, this was a huge show, and yes, you've had plenty of work since then. Was that something that you had to adjust?
Yeah, going from Greek, I felt like I had just scratched the surface on what I was capable of,
Nice.
right? I wanted to do so much more. I wanted to get into drama. I wanted to get into horror. I wanted to get
Mm,
into musical theater, which, I've gotten to do all those things since.
nice.
And I feel like I've kind of rounded out my palette. So, yeah, I think there's always probably a concern of being like, oh, are my best and brightest days behind me? But I don't feel like that. I feel like if anything, they're still ahead of me. So yeah, I'm very hopeful and I try to stay very positive, and I just feel like you know um, even though the industry has changed so
Yeah,
much, I still feel like there's something there to do,
nice.
and I want to do it. So I'm not I'm it's I'm try to be as optimistic as possible about it.
I don't think you need to try. Just like from what I'm gathering, that's kind of like your natural state of being. Obviously, there's highs and lows. Sometimes work isn't as fruitful,
Right.
but I think that's so important. And also going back to the Seinfeld people,
Hmm.
very quickly afterwards, they're like, "Okay, I'm doing this, so I'm doing that. It's not Seinfeld, but I'm looking at it in a different way, and I can appreciate this for what it is. But the comparison point is only gonna hurt us, and one show is never like the other show as well. So I found that like really awesome to hear as well.
No, that is good to hear.
And after Greek, I think you kind of with the CW family, which I don't think exists anymore. I'm not on top of that as well.
I don't think they do.
um, what is that like going from? I think actually we'll talk about you. You got to round out your palette as well, especially when you've had success as one thing. You can be pigeonholed and you're like you are this person, stay in your lane. What was it like when you did the musical? What's it called again? It's off the I'm forgetting the name of it, but you
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
yes, yes, yes. What was that like? Because that's like so unique where you get to like sing. I think there's a little bit of dancing involved, and it's probably
Yep.
very you don't have a lot of time. Was that also a bit of a crazy experience?
A lot of dancing, more dancing than I wanted to be involved. Yeah, but no, no, no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was. Listen, as a musical theater kid, right? I did that in high school and my brief stint in college. I was doing musical theater, and I was like, I don't know if I'll ever do it again. Because it's there. There's not a big musical theater scene here in Los Angeles, and I'd have to go to New York, and that's a whole other industry, really. Unless you're a name,
Yeah,
like I'd have to go and audition for a musical, and so it'd just be a very different world. So I didn't think I'd ever do it again. And when this show came around, I was thrilled to be a part of it, and that was another one that like went, 4 seasons total, like 2.5 with me involved.
Nice.
So I was very lucky in that I got to slip back into those shoes and stretch the muscle of singing and dancing and doing, doing musical theater on television, which is also super rare. Not a lot of people get to do that either. So um, yeah, very, very thankful. And like, I don't know if you know, we do tours every now and again. We'll go with Rachel Bloom, the lead of that show. We'll do shows live every now and again. And that's another one where we get to play all these crazy venues like Radio City Music Hall or the Palladium in London or, here in LA at the Wiltern. Like, we just, it's like, that show has its whole other life that I get to do, which is fun.
That is
Yeah.
that is amazing because often when a show's done, that's it. You never revisit the character.
Right.
Goodbye. See you later. We don't want to hear from you again. I did see one clip from the London Palladium where you're singing
Oh,
"Let's Have Intercourse."
yeah.
Is that, I know that's a funny song, but is that like the kid in you gets, it ignites something in you? Because as you said, musical theater, this is your passion. You get to go up on stage and sing these songs, I assume with close collaborating buddies, and you actually get to perform. You were in a band before as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're still in that
No,
as
I'm
well,
not, but yes,
but just being able to perform in front of, yeah, can you, isn't that just like living the dream in a sense, especially the kid in you would have loved it.
it's like that show has its whole other life that I get to do, which is fun.
That is amazing because often when a show's done, that's it. You never revisit the character.
Yeah.
Goodbye. See you later.
Yeah, 100%. It scratches all those itches, right? Like I get to be on stage, and also it's like the easiest environment to perform, right? It's not like people are paying 120 to $500 to see me on stage in a musical that they know super well, and if I don't hit the note right, they're going to be pissed. Like it's basically basically like a convention, like we come out and we could be singing horribly, but everyone's still just like
I get
fans of
you.
the show. Obviously, we don't want to sing horribly. We want to put on a good show. But I just mean it's a low stress environment, and it's
They
just
want
a
you to succeed.
yeah. They want you to succeed, and it's a bundle of fun, right? It's a bundle of fun for us, for them. So it's like the most positive experience you could be a part of.
Do you remember the first time you had to perform it in front of people outside of the show? And how was that?
You mean for in life or for Crazy X?
For Crazy Act.
For Crazy X, yeah. The first time I did it was, I think it was here in LA. We were doing a practice show for locals before we took the show on the road. So we did like a 7 or 8 city tour in like a week. So we did like LA,
What?
San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Chicago, Boston, New York, DC, LA. So
That's
maybe eight
crazy.
city tour, something like that. And it was nuts. Like we were doing a show, going to the hotel, getting up the next day, getting on a plane, flying, doing a show. It was just for a week. But the first time was here in LA, and it was for a lot of the locals, a lot of friends and family that we knew here, and it was like again the easiest thing because it's all your friends that want you to succeed, and then when you're on the road, it's all the fans that want you to succeed. So just a super positive, uplifting atmosphere.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm glad that you had that as well. And also, I'm surprised you mentioned, musical theater.
Yeah,
You also mentioned horrors. You've done heaps. We've spoken about your credits at the start.
right.
I just want to tie up this point before we talk about your show.
Yeah.
From the pigeonholing aspect, that can be, as we said, as once you've achieved a level of success, people want to see you as that person or a similar character.
Mm.
Has that been a thing for you? Because every single person on this podcast has spoke about, trying to get out of that pigeonholing and change the narrative. I know you're doing producing. We spoke about that before. Has that been a thing for you? And if so, how have you managed with that?
I wish I could say I had any control over that, or that there is any sort of path that is being laid out in front of me. It's like, I really see myself as a working actor, right? I audition for work that I like, and sometimes things will come across that I go like, oh, I could do this in my sleep, and or be like, oh, I haven't done that. I really want to do that. I Either way, it's out to me whether I get those roles. I book what I book, and so I do think I end up playing a lot of romantic comedy. I end up doing a lot of that, but I like it too. So
Oh,
it's like
nice.
I'm not mad at that. And I love working. I love being on set. I love doing my job. And I think any way I can do it, whether it's horror, drama, comedy, thriller, whatever, I'm happy to do it.
I like your mentality. You're wise beyond your years. And
I try.
and what was it like? I saw this as well. It's also on your website when you got named Variety's top 10 actors to
Yeah.
watch. So you're like me, you're going to get a poster. Is it going to be in the front door? So, if a delivery person comes by, you're like, that's me. Is it framed to right above the TV? Tell me about that.
It's not. It's on my website, and that's the only place it is right now. I did have my very first article written about me that is framed, and it was
Oh, nice.
in my closet. I think it might be here somewhere. Oh yeah, it's up there.
I can't see it, but
I don't know if you can see that
that's
on
very
here.
cool.
My first article. So my manager at the time got it framed for me, so I do have that up. But the Variety's top 10 thing was just a fun thing that happened. I did a pilot for this show, or for ABC called Blood and Oil. Went one season and then got canceled. But it was right in the middle of that season that I got that, and it was great. So, it's like any kind of small recognition you can get along the way. I think is makes you feel good. And yeah, but it doesn't define or anything like that. It just was a nice piece of recognition.
That's awesome. And I think that's very important to have. I want to quickly talk about that. Would you say it's called Blood and Oil as well?
Yeah.
Because this is really unique and this kind of ties in everything we've been speaking about. But you mentioned that when the show got cancelled prematurely in your mind, you
Hmm.
decided you weren't going to go out for network pilot season and you held out for 9 months and you hadn't gone that long since Greek. And you said you're in a bad place thinking, maybe I wasn't that good after all. We know you're good. What helped after that period to realize that that wasn't the
Yeah.
truth? What mentally helped?
Yeah. At that point, I had done a few pilots that went, one season and done, and I was like, I just felt like I was on a hamster wheel. Um, and so I didn't do pilot season, and then it didn't work for for a while, which I guess is to be expected. It's funny because I didn't work for 9 months, and I thought that was such a huge gap of no work. And it's like, dude, since the pandemic, I've gone longer than that without working. It's totally fine. But it's common now.
Yeah.
But the thing that got me back was Crazy X. That was the job that I booked at right after that. It was like the end of that 9 months was Crazy X, and I was on that for 3 years. So, that was just that I really do credit that show with sort of like, yeah, lifting up my spirits about the industry and making me feel valid again. And it's weird. Actors were very, we even though we hear a thousand no's all the time, the
Yeah.
validation when we get it is really really sweet. We can live off that for a while.
It's still crazy that after, by the way, that it's for people listening, people go years sometimes or,
Yeah,
work for like a small period. No judgment whatsoever. This is the nature of the beast as well. But did
yeah.
you make mental shifts or if you can remember anything like mental shifts or maybe you did different things physically to kind of get you out of that loop, regardless of the work? I'm sure you would have had to have some conversations with yourself.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It kind of goes to a little bit of personal stuff for me. Like I mentioned to you before that I don't drink anymore, right? So I went sober, and I think that was a big thing for me. And I think you know I've changed who I am as a person and as an actor since then. I think
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't know who I was fully until I had that transition, and now that that's happened, I just feel way more clear and way more present and grounded, and um, appreciative and grateful for everything I have. And I think that came a little later, but I think that is really the thing I could say has really um, made me more comfortable in my skin, comfortable in the
Mm.
industry. Yes, it's hard. This whole industry is hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But I think just having that clarity has made me a healthier and happier person.
That is awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. And we've spoken about sobriety so much on this podcast as well. I
Yeah,
personally don't drink, but more for reasons I don't like it. But the
yeah,
shifts that people have spoken about is actually like it's amazing. I don't know if you could, by the way, we can change the topic, we can move on, you can go as deep as you want, no
No,
pressure.
no, no. I'm happy to talk about it.
I don't know if you ever did a program, but the people that have done programs that I've spoken on this chat, like their insights and self awareness is like, it's almost like everyone should go through a program. I'm not saying like have an addiction or whatever. I'm just saying what people have learned from that is just like, it's so
Yeah,
mind blowing. Did you
right.
go through anything like that? And I know we were talking about like, but like gain
Hmm.
like a deeper understanding of you and be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm this person or I can do this. Like often it can like spark different. Yeah.
No, I didn't do the program. I I just cold turkeyed it, and
Oh,
but
whoa.
I had a pretty big wake up call that I needed to do it, and um, also like my partner is incredible, and she and I learned a lot about each other in that process, and we're closer than ever now because of it. And
Amazing.
um, so no, and I don't. I think the program is great for people who want it, need it. Um, it's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't for me personally.
Yeah, we've had
But
half and half.
yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's your journey, right? It's your personal journey, and for me it was um, I didn't need it because I got so sort of like jolted into it, and so. But yeah, becoming who I am now was a crucible, right? Like I had to go through the fire and figure that out. But yeah, it's made me a different person, and I think a better person. So I'm thankful for it.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. And last thing on that, have you also found, I know you mentioned with your partner, but like stronger relationships as well, and also maybe a clearer mind as well, and how you're able to like process and deal. And have you noticed that?
I'll tell you, I did press today this morning. I went to a couple jobs, and I was saying like before I would get a little nervous or hands sweaty, and I feel like I wouldn't say, the right things, whatever. And I think that was just either being a little
Gosh.
hungover or, in withdrawals. And I was just like, so I was always constantly in one of those places, and I hated that. I didn't have any of that, I don't have that at all anymore. I think
Oh,
it's just
brilliant.
more comfortable in my own skin, confident in myself, friendships are easy, but I've also learned to just sort of be um, honest with myself. Like I used to feel bad and I wouldn't want to stay out late at a party because I'd be like, well, everyone's drinking and I don't drink, and like, and now it's
Yep.
like, oh no, I'm just tired and want to go to bed,
Yep.
so I'm gonna go, just honesty about where I am and what I want to do. And so I don't know, just bottom line, all long story short to say, I just feel more confident and comfortable.
That's amazing. And thank you for normalizing leaving a party and going for sleep. I appreciate that. I heard because I'm
I'm
always
very
the
sleepy.
sober one.
Yeah, always sleepy.
Amazing. I also want to talk about your new show, Paris is Always a Good Idea. It looks amazing. It's also rare that you get to travel like this. Can you tell me about the travel aspect? It looks amazing.
Yeah, we spent 2 weeks in Paris, city of love and lights. It's beautiful. We got to do 2 weeks exterior, so we were outside pretty much the whole time. We got to shoot on the Eiffel Tower,
Oh,
under the Eiffel Tower, in front of the Eiffel Tower, at the Trocadero.
how do they organize that? Isn't that quite
Yeah,
hard to?
I don't know how they did it, but we did it. It was all on the up and up too. So yeah, we basically had to do a night shoot on the Eiffel Tower because they were open during the day. So we went in when they were closed. And it was freezing. I know it's going to look like a nice warm summer night on TV, but it was very cold. It snowed on us. So that was fun. But Paris was Paris was gorgeous. I've never really done anything like that. I've never filmed abroad it's such an iconic city,
Nice.
I have filmed abroad, but not in, Paris, which is just, a top destination for the world. So living there for a couple of weeks was really, really fun. And then we went to Spain and we did 2 months in Spain, which was beautiful, and it's the culinary capital of Europe, so we ate a lot of good food, and all the locations are just stunning. So it's meant to look like Spain and Ireland, which I didn't know. The north of Spain, Basque Country, is very green and wet and cold. I always thought Spain was like a
Yeah.
hot, dry, spicy, Latina place, but the north of Spain is not quite like that. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, you got to check it out. The food there is phenomenal, but the whole experience was great. Wouldn't change it for the world.
And were you able to actually go out and enjoy, or was it super fast paced onto the next thing?
Lacey Chabert, who plays Chelsea Martin in the show, she's our lead. She worked like 42 of 44 days, and I think I worked like 21 of 42 days. So I had some time off. I went and bopped around Europe a little bit, a couple times. So I was able to actually go and I went to Budapest and Prague and Venice and Vienna and
Oh,
Barcelona and south of France for a week. I had time to myself, so I was very fortunate.
oh, that's amazing. I've been to all those places and all of them are amazing, but I haven't been, I think, to the north of
Yeah,
Spain as well. And also with the Hallmark family, I didn't know much about Hallmark, but then I've been very lucky. I just quickly, as you were speaking, I've had a
yeah.
few people who've been part of the Hallmark family: Cindy Busby, Dustin Milligan, Jonathan Frakes,
Hmm.
Beth Broderick. Who else am I forgetting? Taylor Cole. I think I'm forgetting a few other people. And
Mm-hmm.
they have all spoke, well, the ones when I knew they were on Hallmark at the time, they've all
Okay.
spoken so amazingly well of Hallmark and how kind it is. And like a
Yeah.
couple of them said they'll only work with Hallmark as well. What is your transition to the transition's the right word,
Yeah.
but how's it been with the Hallmark team? Because it sounds like once you're there, you're part of the family.
It's been awesome. Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that family is a good one. They take care of you, and I really do think that a network that their essence starts at the top, right? And so I think the leadership at Hallmark is really, really good, and they care about everyone involved in their projects, and they're just
Nice.
good, happy
Yep.
people, and I think that's what I want to surround myself with in my life. And
Nice.
it's so much, just it makes our jobs so much easier when we can be with people that we like to be with, and who care about the work and care about us. And so I couldn't speak highly enough about them.
That's so nice to hear. But it's also like from my end, I don't have any interaction with like different networks and different all these things. And for
Mm,
everyone to talk about it, it's like, well, if you say it once or twice,
mm.
maybe it's a thing. But everyone's been talking about how awesome it is. I'm like, that is so rare. We don't need to badmouth any other network or anything. But like for everyone
Yeah.
to talk positively, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And what is everyone
No,
else doing? That's so they don't. I was like, this is like crazy and awesome, and like people are smiling.
I think it just, yeah, it starts at the top. It starts at the top. Everyone there is, that they exude the type of content that they want to make, right? So they make these romantic comedies that make you feel good, right? And so they have that mentality. It's just I think it's just part of the whole ethos there at Hallmark, is just, being happy and comforting and friendly. And so I just think it must be in the water over there at the building.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you got that as well. When is it out? And can we get this is the worst question. Before when you answer that, can we get a little bit of a synopsis or be in the episode notes as well? I know it's the worst
No,
question.
no,
When's the show
no, no,
about?
no.
But I feel like I want to.
So ultimately, this show is a what if story. It's what if you turned left instead of right, or if you went with this person instead of that person. What would have happened in your life, right? So Lacey Chabert plays Chelsea Martin, who um, basically revisits three of her past loves to see if any of them will be right for her in her future. And I play her coworker who tries to help her navigate this, and might be uh, might be one of the guys in the mix as well. So I think it's a really fun show. At the end of the day, it's about family, connections, love, and obviously the locations play a big part of it too. So
Yeah.
if you're ready for Paris, Spain, Ireland, and a good romantic series, this is the one for you. And it's July 30th, Hallmark Plus. Uh, 2 episodes on the 30th, and then every week after that for 6 episodes. If you need information, go to hallmarkplus.com. It'll all be there. But I think it's going to be really, really great, and I can't wait to see it myself. I've only seen snippets, so I'm excited to watch it as well.
Oh, how's that when you film something and you're like, I wonder if they're going to go this direction or do that direction? and then you see like, oh, that's even better than what I thought. Is that sometimes it might not be as good, but what's that like when if you do rewatch yourself? What's
Yeah, well, so sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I went in. I've done ADR, which is I've done some voiceover for the show the last couple weeks, and so I've seen some of the scenes cut together, and it looks stunning, right? The locations and our DP cinematographer was phenomenal. So I think it's just a beautiful show. I know the story's good, so like I think it's going to be fantastic. As far as where they're going to go in certain directions, it's like we did a run and gun on this, so we don't have a lot of options. We had to like shoot it and go. So I think the show is what it is, and I think it's really really good from what I know, and I think everyone's going to love it.
amazing? That will be in the episode notes below. I'm glad that you got that. Before we go, we're going to do a really quick rapid fire segment to wrap it up.
Got it.
What's been your special ingredient to work all these years?
Ingredient to work?
Yeah.
What's been my special ingredient? Tenacity. I just keep going. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I keep going. I always want to keep working. So I would say tenacity.
Do you have a philosophy on life that you follow?
Uh, I guess this is cliche, but I think don't try to be successful. Try to be happy. That's kind of the thing that I've been trying to live by as long as I can remember now. Is being happy is more important than anything else.
I love that. And, cliches are often the best. They're a reason they're cliches.
Yeah.
What brings the best creative content out of you?
And this might sound weird, but competition. If I'm working with someone who's doing really well, I want to do better. You know what I mean? So maybe it's not competition. Maybe that's the wrong word. But like, if someone is doing good work, and it just inspires me to do good work as well. I don't know if I don't know if that's competition or if it's just wanting to be
rising to the
on equal
occasion,
footing.
wanting to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Biggest pet peeve?
These are all industry related. I'll say unprepared. If you're not prepared, I think that's a big pet peeve of mine. A lot of times we show up to set, and it's on us to know our lines and do our job. And when people don't do that, it really pisses me off.
I get that. What lights you up?
Coffee.
That's great. If money wasn't a factor, what would you be doing different, if anything at all?
I wouldn't be doing anything different. I would just be funding my own projects. I'd be making the projects that I can't afford to make right now. So, if money was no object, all my ideas would be, available for you to see.
What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Uh, Gosh, I think everything that I've been trying to do. Yeah, it's funny. I don't feel like I'm like waiting for something to happen to do something. I'm actively trying to do all these things. It's just a matter of time and and resources.
If you could have any superhero power, what would it be and why?
The ability to change someone's mind. I think you can pretty much do anything if you can change someone's mind.
You could be like, did you ever watch X-Men? Like
Professor X,
Professor
or
X, just plant the seed in everyone
yeah.
and be like, my projects, they're amazing. Just shoot it out to everyone. Get a 9.9 on IMDb.
Yeah. I'll change. I'll change all the viewers. All my Rotten Tomato scores are 100. No, but I mean, like, if you want someone to see it from your point of view, and they can't, right? Like, if you're trying to talk, even if you're trying to talk, they never say to talk about politics and religion, but let's say try to talk about politics and religion. People have a hard time seeing eye to eye on those things. But if you could have someone see it the way you see it, I think that would solve quite a few problems in our country, in our world too.
Agreed.
You could have someone truly relate to you and see it through your eyes, or vice versa, and have someone be able to empathize. If you just empathy truly is the power I think that we all need.
You can shoot out empathy while getting 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's going to be the next.
It's a great power.
Yeah. Any advice that you want to give to people who want to try something different or new, but
Yeah.
perhaps a bit fearful of doing so?
We kind of touched on this earlier, but I think at the end of the day, you just have to do it. And I know that sounds like a Nike ad, but there's truth in that, right? Like there's so many times where I've been like, oh, I would love to do that, or I'd love to do this, and you really don't know, or at least for me, I kind of learn by doing, right? And I have to like get my hands dirty, and I have to like jump in and do it. And if you don't ever do it, then you'll never know if it's possible in any way. Like I saw a video on people making leather wallets, and now I have all the stuff to make leather wallets,
I love that.
I just had to like dive in and do it, because I wanted to do it. But if you just dream about it and you think about it and you say, oh, I'd love to do leather crafting and never do it, then you'll never know.
That's amazing. Are you selling any of them? And if so, can people get them off you, or is that a?
Yeah, maybe maybe one day. I'm still honing my craft, but for now it's a lot of gifts for family members and friends.
That makes Christmas a lot easier. So
That's true.
good idea. Last question before I ask how people can follow you and keep up to date with you.
Yeah,
What is the one question I should have asked you?
I think you nailed it, man. I don't think you missed anything. But I know that might be a cop out, so I'll come up with something.
I'll take the compliment.
Uh, what question you should have asked me is, where is the magic key on this bookcase behind me?
Okay, where is it?
If you had to guess.
The magic key. I have no idea. You've also gone blurry, so
Oh,
I can't see.
no.
Oh, okay, now I can. Okay, I can't tell. Where is it? Can you point to it and hopefully it will show?
One knows how to get into my
that
secret
there.
dungeon.
No way. That is so cool. So is this like a room for you to do like creative stuff, like, and then that goes into the rest of the house?
That goes into another room. Sorry, my camera's boggled. We just really wanted a fun magic bookcase, and we put one in. Again, talked about it for a long time. Finally did it. We just did it.
That is amazing. That is awesome. Thank you. You are. Oh yeah. Before we go, how can people follow you and keep up to date with you?
Yeah. Even though I'm not on social media as much as I would like to be, or actually, I don't know if that's true, as much as I once was, you can follow me on Instagram at Scott M. Foster, at Scott M. Foster, or go to my website. All my latest stuff is on there, scottmichaelfoster.com.
Amazing. That will be in the episode notes below. Thank you. Very inspiring. I appreciate your honesty. And this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
I love how Scott gave the example of how he sold his first script, and despite it not getting made, it showed him the wonderful possibilities that exist in this world. His story is a great reminder how progress is actually success. Sometimes success doesn't need to be achieving the end goal, but it can simply be having the courage to take the shot and put yourself in the ring. Because even if you don't get exactly what you hoped for, you might get further than you ever thought you would, and that carries forward. That's always better than never trying at all. So I'll leave you with this epic quote. Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. T.S. Eliot. Thank you for listening to the Funny and Failure podcast, exploring the deeper side of comedy and life.